Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to another episode of Epic 7, and today we actually get to take a look at Yulha. I don't know what's going on with their release schedule. This is not like them. They always have a very specific schedule, and this time it is completely different. So, a little bit late on this video, but we do have the preview video here, and we did have it data mined a couple days ago, but honestly, I didn't want to look at the data mine and make a video on that because I feel like watching it from that takes away a little bit from the way they show it. So I wanted to do it here. So anyways, let's get into Yulha here and see what she sounds like and all sorts of stuff like that.
You'll help me, won't you?
Me.
You'll help me, won't you?
Okay, that's exactly what
Until
I wanted.
the very end.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Those who stand against me are not worth keeping alive.
Oh, yeah.
I have no use for you, so you'll have to disappear.
Okay, yeah, I like her. I love this type of character, the super crazy, absolutely crazy character. She's voiced by Laura Post, and we'll take a look at what else Laura Post is voiced as well. I don't think she usually voices this type of character. Also, she is a Earth Knight, as we expected, or as we saw
Yulha,
in the thing.
A wicked ruler with a vicious smile.
Yeah, she
Yulha is one of the great wicked and rules over the Forsaken Lands. Originally, she was one of the great spirits that Sylvana created.
Okay, so if we take a look at her outfit, she's super cool. Like, look at her eyes here. That smile is insane. I don't know what this symbol means here. Maybe somebody can let me know. Or maybe that's just what's on the back of her thing here. I do like that. Also to note, she is one of the great evils. Or one of the great, what did they call it? The great wicked. So that's pretty cool as well. So let's take a look.
Who turned them into the first great wicked.
The first
Intrigued
great
by
wicked.
Yulha's potential, a Helldot embedded a fragment of his power and ego into her. After the Great War, when a Helldot's domination over the wicked abated, Yulha was reborn as an entirely new being.
I love her.
Soon after,
Plus 15.
she created her own faction of wicked and challenged Bihu, only to suffer defeat. Having nowhere else to go,
Oh, look at that. Look at that around her.
she fled to the Forsaken Lands, where she has been biding her time ever since.
Okay, so she's definitely plus 15 for me. I love the design.
Yulha is a 5-star Earth.
Okay, so let's look at her stats here. She has a health imprint here, which is not the greatest if you need to crit, but I don't think she needs to crit, so I think it's pretty good, right? If you don't need to crit, that's pretty much the best you can get for a defensive/offensive HP-based unit. We also see she has 6,840 HP, which is massive. That's really high, especially when combined with her defense as well. Really high, pretty low speed, as we expected to, and she doesn't have any, in quotes, wasted stats in effectiveness or ER. And she also has very, very low attack. So she is very, very much a like a really focused stat spread, which is awesome.
Elemental Knight. She has high health and defense.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And can increase her health further through her imprint
I also
concentration.
said that. So what does she have for skills? Actually, I have kind of looked at the skills before, just not in depth. So we have Malicious Smile. When attacked by a single attack, reflect 30% of the damage suffered to the attacker. Reflected damage cannot be higher than the caster's max HP. And after being attacked, when health is 30% or less, dispels all debuffs from the caster and activates Murderous Intent. It can only be activated once every 5 turns. That's a long time, but it is what it is. So Murderous Intent grants a berry to the caster for 3 turns and increases CR by 20%, and it's proportionate to her max health. So one thing I wanted to mention here with Malicious Smile, I feel like they should have went in on her absolute maniac craziness. It's called Murderous Intent, right? And Murderous Intent gives her a barrier in CR. You know, I wanted to give her, like, I don't know, I wanted to go crazy and like slice things in half and like burn you to the ground, but this is pretty cool anyway. Pretty cool ability, and we can see it goes up to 25% CR, which is okay, I guess. One thing I want to mention here is I'm not familiar with how this works. Somebody can confirm in the comments down there below, but when after being attacked, when health is 30% or less, dispels all debuffs from the caster and activates Murderous Intent. Now, I'm not sure how the turn order works here, but let's say Hua Hwoyoung skill 3s her, the damage hits, and then does this passive proc and give her a barrier, and then does Hwoyoung's extra damage proc, or does the damage proc and then the extra damage proc and then she gets a barrier? Because those are two very different things, and obviously if she can tank a Hwoyoung, that would be insane. It's also nuts to me that you have an HP based brutally tanky character, and she probably is just gonna get decimated by Hwoyoung, right? So that's kind of interesting. Also to note is even if she does kind of tank a Hwoyoung, she probably kills her on return, right? Let's say she's got 25,000 HP or something like that, 30% of 25,000, and she'll probably have more than that. She'll probably have something like 30,000 plus with how big her base HP is. So 25 times 0.3. So she can reflect a maximum of 7,500 damage. That's right? 7,500 damage if Hwoyoung does 25k to her. Interesting. Wait, is that right? No, that's not right. I did that wrong. So let's say Hwoyoung does 25,000 to her. Yeah, it's the same. Never mind. I'm right. Ignore me.
Skill 2, Malicious Smile. When attacked by a single attack,
and
reflects 30% of the damage suffered to the
right
attacker.
there, right? Yeah. So we'll see
Reflected
how this
bells
works
all
right after
debuffs
here.
from the caster and activates Murderous
Also, isn't it weird how they're trying to design a character to tank Hwoyoung?
Intent.
Okay, let's take a look at this here and see how Hwoyoung actually does versus that. And it's not going to be as good as I thought, because if we
Can
take
only
a
be
look
activated
here,
once every 5 turns. Murderous Intent. Grants a barrier to the caster for 3 turns and increases combat.
So, Hwoyoung does 18,000, and if you take 30% of 18,000, that's like 5,600 or something like that. 18,000 times 0.3, 5,400, right? So that means she's only taking 2,000 of that, which means Pierre is absorbing the vast majority of it, right? So you're not going to kill somebody with the reflect unless they're dumb, but that would still not kill, and then she'd get a barrier and be over full health again, right? So kind of interested in that. And you can see, like, this is a character designed to survive Hwoyoung, and she barely survives, and the barrier is barely there, right? So I'm not sure what to think about
Barrier
that.
strength increases proportional to the caster's max health.
But I guess we'll see.
Skill 3.
And then we have Symphony of Agony here, and attacks the enemy by unraveling sphere of sadism, and when the enemy is defeated, recovers the caster's HP. When the target is not an elite or boss monster, damage sharing effects are ignored. That's pretty cool. Tens the defense of the target but cannot trigger a crit. Damage dealt proportionate to the caster's lot's HP, and amount recovered increases proportional to the caster's max HP, and it has a extra turn effect there, and that can help you cycle through her murderous intent as well. One thing to note, this looks very much like a Krau ability here, and unable to be crit, same damage and stuff like that.
Symphony of Agony.
So this is going to do like
attacks the enemy
13,000?
by unraveling Sphere of Sadism, and when the enemy is defeated, recovers the caster's health. When the target is not an elite or boss monster, damage sharing effects are ignored. Penetrates the target's defense, but
here.
cannot trigger a critical hit. Damage dealt increases proportional to the caster's lost health.
Oh,
and amount recovered increases proportional to the
So it did 18,500 damage, and the reason why they targeted Rimuru and not Hwoyoung is obviously it's just not going to kill her with the barrier, right? It's just not going to kill her. It might, but it's not going to kill her. Also miss and stuff like that too. That's pretty cool, and that ignores
when 20
the
soul is
bodyguard
consumed,
as well.
grants an extra turn. Skill.
And then Cruel Touch here is a 100% chance to inflict redirected provoke for 1 turn on her skill 1. Kind of interesting. I'm not sure what to think about this, because redirected provoke is kind of weird, right? I mean, why not give a redirected provoke? But the thing is, there's no way she's not your highest HP unit, right? So it's the same as that. Interesting. I'm not sure what to think about her skill 1. I guess with the extra turn, you can then provoke somebody as well. Interested. Let's see what this looks like.
Cruel Touch. Attacks the enemy with up to a 100 turn. Increases proportional to the cast. Damage dealt increases proportional to the cast.
Also to note, that's pretty decent damage. 5.5k for like a support DPS sort of thing. And then her Sphere of Sadism here, at the start of battle, grants the barrier to the caster for 2 turns. When attacking with a single attack, if the caster is granted a barrier, damage dealt increases by 20%. So this is kind of interesting to me, right? Because if we take a look at her, let me read this to be sure. At the start of battle, yep. So that's kind of interesting to me. So if we look at Malicious Smile here, there's a couple things, right? Like, you want to be lower than 30% HP so you can activate Murderous Intent, right? And at the same time, you want to be low HP so you can penetrate them and just destroy them, right? So this artifact, while it might be interesting for some people, isn't it going to be kind of awkward on her because you're granting a barrier, you're going to be preventing that damage. I guess she might need a barrier to survive good Hwayoungs. Like, maybe that's literally why this is like this, so she can survive a Hwayoung attack. Because I have a feeling Hwayoungs are going to hit a lot harder than that Hwayoung shown there. So interesting, and I can't wait to see how this turns out. I'm really actually happy with her. Let's see what she does when she's sitting down.
Kid Ruler with a vicious smile. Players will be able to meet Yulha in the drop rate up banner starting June 16th.
I love her so much. Yeah, I'm plus 15 in her. There's not a chance I'm not plus 15 in her. We are going nuts on her. Look at her. She's got her little T floating. She's got something there, paper, I guess. She's got some drawing boards. Yeah, she's painting here. And she's like continuously painting the same thing. Look at, that's all she's doing is painting the same thing. That's some like Psycho Ward scariness there. I love that. I love that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below how wrong I am and what you think about her. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye, everybody.